All right, we're going to get right to it because this was a nutty day in the World Cup. Back and forth, all sorts of stuff. We just got off the set. Japan ends up winning the group and beating Spain, a group that, by the way, Japan beat both Germany and Spain. Germany's out. Japan and Spain go through. Costa Rica's out. Just initial thoughts first before we get into the nuts and bolts here.
What was nutty about it? You didn't have Japan and Morocco winning their groups? But yeah, this was the only group, Group B we're talking about, in the tournament that had two past champions in Spain and Germany. And the fact that Japan beat them both, coming from behind to do so, and sandwiched in between lost to Costa Rica is just utterly bizarre. But that's how it played out. They get first place, and Spain advanced in second. So,
we came on air with this game and talked about the amount of passes, and Stu, put the over-under at 750, which, by the way, they blew by. So from that perspective, this was a Spain that kept plenty of, had plenty of passing. But I mean, Japan, you got to take your hat off to this Japanese team in terms of what they've done. The substitute patterns and the impact of substitutes. Ultimately, Morata gets the goal, and you think, Spain's going to cruise. They're going to have plenty of possession. They're going to have plenty of goals. Doan, again, coming off the bench. Tanaka, and in that spell of, 3 minutes? Completely turned this game on the head, and in doing so, completely turned the group on the head. Now, keep in mind, on the other side, we had Germany and Costa Rica going on. Germany came out flying. Serge Gnabry, then Kai Havertz, then Füllkrug, and also between that, Tejada and Vargas scoring for Costa Rica. Kai Havertz with 2 coming off the bench. So this was, like I said, this was nutty. I guess first, wax poetic about Japan, if you can.
No, it's an incredible achievement. And, Japan, if you recall, played the U.S. In one of those September friendlies and beat them 2-0, and it was worse than that. They played them off the field. And I think everybody came away from that match feeling like this is a dangerous team that could make some noise. Remember, they got to the round of 16 of the last World Cup, lost to Belgium one of the matches of the tournament. They had a 2-0 lead in the second half, squandered it. So I did think they could be frisky, and if either Spain or Germany weren't at their best, Japan was a threat to snatch one of those spots. But again, the way it played out was amazing. For them to beat Spain and Germany and lose to Costa Rica, I mean, that's not how I drew it up. But
And Hajime Moriyasu, I think Stu said on the set that coach of the tournament so far in terms of, look, we judge coaches ultimately on the changes that they make, the personnel, the substitutions that they make, and everything that he touched seems to turn to gold.
Now, should we talk about the second goal?
Yes, we should talk about the second goal. So Japan scores their first goal. Okay, things can happen. And then a couple minutes later, they score the second goal. Now, the controversy around this goal is, was the ball over the line or not over the line? For anybody that's watched soccer long enough to know that your eyes can play tricks on you when it comes to over the line. And as we know, the law states the entire ball has to be over the entire line. And just because a ball looks like from the eye test that it is over the line doesn't mean it, because what you really have to do is take almost a glass pane off of the line and just go straight up. And as we know, a round ball, a sphere, it can look like it's over the line and still not be when it comes to the little part on the side there. And ultimately, I think that's what the decision was. My major problem, and I'm still having a problem right now, and we are doing this in real time right after the game. So by the time you're listening to this, by the time you're watching this, if you're not watching it live, and we love that you're watching it live, it might have changed. My question was, the AR put the flag up. If in that moment the AR put the flag up to indicate that the ball, they believe that the ball was over the line, then that in that moment is the call on the field. Unless the referee or something said, no, that's a bad call, and I'm in a better angle to look at it, and I don't think that it's over the line. So, because ultimately, when it came down to the review, they came to the conclusion that they did not have sufficient evidence. What's the term that they used for conclusive evidence to overturn the call, to say that this ball was actually out over the line. Fine. But if the call is that the ball is over the line from the AR, then that's the call that you are looking to overturn and review. And so if you come back and say that there's no conclusive evidence, what you're saying is there's no conclusive evidence to the call that was made on the field, which was the AR putting up the flag. So that's what I don't know. Now maybe the AR put up the flag for some ridiculous other reason, or maybe the center referee said no, I'm just going to overrule that. It doesn't matter ultimately. Well, it does matter, but ultimately Japan gets the goal and Japan goes on.
Yeah, it's a great story, but unfortunately it is a bit tainted because I agree with you. I thought that was shambolic. To me, there was clear evidence that the ball was out. And even if you don't think there was, to your point, it seemed like the original call on the field was that it was out. So you needed to have had conclusive evidence to overturn that.
Right. And then show us, by the way. If you do have conclusive evidence, then you would have to show us.
Yeah, and had that goal not been scored and that game finished 1-1, the way everything else played out, Germany would have gone through, Japan would have been out, Spain would have won the group, so we would have had a whole different bracket than we do now.
All right. Costa Rica, valiant effort and an interesting